Welcome to the Unreal BootCamp lesson on implementing external authentication. In this lesson, we'll be going over how to implement external authentication with brainCloud. External authentication is used to allow your game or app to authenticate a user with an external platform that brainCloud doesn't support. The external authentication process depends on a cloud code script being written on the brainCloud portal. When making the authenticate external request in your game or app, we need to supply the following parameters: the user's credentials for the external platform, along with the name of the cloud code script. The cloud code script will then take in these credentials and make the necessary validation requests to the external platform that we are authenticating with to confirm that the supplied credentials are in fact valid for this platform. In just a moment, we're going to be going over how to implement external authentication with Twitch. Twitch uses OAuth 2.0 as a means of allowing external games or apps like ours to access a user's Twitch account information. We've detailed this process in the previous lesson. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend that you stop this video and watch that one before continuing with this one. Heading over to the Twitch developer console, we already have a Twitch account created, but the Twitch application has not been created. Let's create that now. Set your application's name, the OAuth redirect URL. This redirect URL must match the one in our app or the OAuth process will fail. Next, select your application's category, click the I'm not a robot button, then click the create button to register your application. Head into Xcode and open the Twitch helper.h file. The Twitch helper class was pre-written to streamline this lesson and simplify the OAuth process. I'd like to quickly highlight the Twitch helper callback class. It declares 3 callback methods that are used for notifying the network manager about the Twitch authentication process. As we look over the Twitch helper, I'll highlight and explain key sections of the class. The Twitch helper's constructor initializes the redirect URL, the Twitch client ID and client secret, and the Twitch helper callback pointer. The next method that I want to highlight is called start local callback server. This method sets the auth state member variable and starts the local TCP listener and listens on port 3030 for the Twitch response. The next method that I want to highlight is called onAuthCode listener callback. This method is invoked when the user authorizes or denies our app from accessing their Twitch account information. In the highlighted section, we'll check to see if the authorization code was returned and if the auth state values match. If they do, we'll request an access token from Twitch by sending the authorization code. In the event that the user denied our app access to their Twitch account information, we'll invoke the callbacks on Twitch authorization denied method. However, if an error was detected instead, we'll invoke the callbacks on Twitch authorization error method, passing in the error message local variable as the argument. In the onRequest access token response received method, in the highlighted section, we check to see if the access token was returned. If it was, then we validate the access token with Twitch. In the onValidate access token response received method, in the highlighted section, we check to see if the access token was validated. If it was, then we can request the Twitch account information. The last method that we're going to take a look at is the onRequest user data response received method. In the highlighted section, we parse the user's email and username from the response data. The callbacks on Twitch authorization grant method is then invoked, passing in the access token, the user's email, and the username as the arguments. Navigate to the spaceshooter.build.cs file. To get the Twitch helper class working correctly, we had to add the 3 highlighted modules to the project. Let's head over to the brainCloud portal and set up the Twitch authentication script. Click Design, then Cloud Code, followed by Web Services. On the right, click the New Web Service button. Before we can make an HTTP request to a web service from a Cloud Code script, it first needs to be whitelisted. Enter a service code name and the base URL. Click Save. On the left, click Scripts. To create a new script, click the plus button. Give the script a name, and then ensure client callable is not selected. Then enter a pair of parameters for the external ID and the authentication token. The default value for each will be an empty string. Then click Create. Delete the default script. Get the input data that's passed in by the external authentication request. The user's Twitch email is the data's external ID, and the Twitch access token is the data's authentication token. We then need to get the HTTP client proxy from the bridge. The bridge provides a mechanism to access all of brainCloud services within a Cloud Code script. Using the HTTP client proxy will validate the access token with Twitch. If the access token was valid, then this script will return true, which means our authentication was successful. Click Save. At the top left of the brainCloud portal, click the 3 horizontal lines. Click Authentication, then click External. Give the external identity a name. Then select the Cloud Code script that we just wrote from the drop-down list. Click the checkmark to save. We're all done in the brainCloud portal. Open Xcode and navigate to the constants.h file. We have a few constants to add, including the name of the brainCloud external authentication identity that we just created. Next, we're going to declare some Twitch constants. Declare a constant for the Twitch auth URL, the Twitch client ID, the Twitch client secret, the redirect host and port, and the redirect URL. Now let's go to the Twitch developer console and copy the Twitch client ID. Return to Xcode and paste in the value for the client ID constant. Head back to the Twitch developer console and generate the Twitch client secret. I've blurred out the client secret as it's against the Twitch developer terms and service to share an app's client secret. Copy the client secret, return to Xcode and paste in the value for the client secret constant. Navigate to the networkmanager.h file. At the top, include twitchhelper.h. Then declare that the network manager inherits from the Twitch helper callback class. After that, remove the equal default after the destructor. We're going to need to implement the network manager's destructor to do some cleanup. Declare a public method called request Twitch external authentication. Scroll down. Override the 3 Twitch helper callback methods. Declare a private member variable called mTwitchHelper of type pointer to a Twitch helper object. Navigate to the networkmanager.cpp file. At the top, we have several header files to include. Then initialize the mTwitchHelper member variable to null. Scroll down and implement the network manager's destructor. In the body, safety check the Twitch helper pointer. If it's valid, delete the Twitch helper object and set the pointer to null. Implement the request Twitch external authentication method. In the body, check to see if the Twitch helper pointer is null. If the pointer is null, create the Twitch helper object and pass in the Twitch redirect URL constant, the Twitch client ID constant, the Twitch client secret constant, and the this pointer as the arguments. Then set up the auth state. This value will be echoed back in the response to validate that it came from the Twitch server. Set up the request parameters. This includes the request scope. The scope is the data that we are requesting access to from the user. Invoke the Twitch helper start local callback server method, passing in the auth state and the redirect host and port as the arguments. Format the URL and open the web browser. Check that the browser opened without any errors, and if there was an error, handle it appropriately. Scroll down to the bottom. Implement the onTwitch authorization granted method. In the body, log the response, including the access token, the email, and the username. Then invoke brainCloud's authenticate external request, passing in the email, the access token, the Twitch external auth constant, true. Remember, this creates an account if one does not already exist, and the address of the mAuthentication callback object as the arguments. Then invoke brainCloud's player state services update name request, passing in the username and the address of the mUpdate username callback object as the arguments. Implement the onTwitch authorization denied method. In the body, format a meaningful error message, then log the error message. Finally, if the callback is set, invoke the callback's onAuthentication request failed method, passing in the error message variable as the argument. Implement the onTwitch authorization error method. In the body, format a meaningful error message, then log the error message. Finally, if the callback is set, invoke the callback's onAuthentication request failed method. Navigate to the dialogmanager.cpp file. Find the create dialogs method, comment out the line that creates the email login dialog widget with the anonymous authentication button. Uncomment the statement below that. This will instead show the email login dialog widget, but with an additional Twitch authentication button. Navigate to the email login dialog widget.cpp file. Scroll down and find the onTwitch button clicked method. Remove the to-do, and in its place invoke the hide method, show the connecting dialog, and invoke the network manager's request Twitch external authentication method. Click the Run button to build the project and launch the Unreal editor. Once the Unreal editor opens, run the game. If you automatically connected to brainCloud, you'll need to log out the previous session. On the login screen, click the Twitch button. This will open the web browser and display an OAuth screen to the user. The section that's highlighted displays the scope to the user that the app is requesting. Click Authorize. Return to the Unreal editor. Our app has received a response, got the access token, and used it to get the user's email address. Both the user's email and the access token were then sent to brainCloud as part of the external authentication request. The Cloud Code script then validated the access token, and as a result, we are officially authenticated with Twitch. Stop the app and open Safari. Navigate to the brainCloud portal. Click Users, then User Browser. Click the top user in the list. Notice that this user was authenticated using the external authentication Twitch Cloud Code script. Cloud Code Scripting Basics is the next lesson in the Unreal BootCamp.